So I was raised Catholic. My family went to church almost every Sunday. My dad more so than my mom. I went to Catholic school growing up in middle school up until 7th grade, and then I transitioned to public school. I stopped going to church as much. It was really mostly like Christmas and Easter, Ash Wednesday. My parents got divorced when I was very young. They both remarried and had 2 kids of their own when I was around 8 years old. I had the big sister title, but my parents were together. So it was a really formative time of my life. From a young age, I had a lot of pressure to perform and be, the best Madison that I could be, and that was a lot to carry. I went house to house from my mom's to my dad's, and that started in probably 2nd grade and lasted until I think around like 7th grade. So it was my responsibility to make sure that I was taking care of all of the things that you do throughout that time. I was the manager of my life. When I went to college, it became particularly difficult because there were a lot of differing opinions on what I should do with my life and the direction I should go. And during that time, I had a huge fight with my dad, and there were some issues with my mom. So really, I felt like I was kind of left to figure it out. I wasn't doing super well in school early on. I was seeking validation in a lot of sources that weren't healthy. Going to a big party school, I coped a lot with alcohol and partying a lot and staying out all night. I fell into a really deep depression. I had anxiety super bad. I was not healthy at all. I have an engineering degree, so like all of those things on top of each other made for a really stressful period of time in my young adult life. I graduated and I moved from Pennsylvania to Orlando during COVID. I didn't have a lot of family here. I came here for work and I had my work people, but it really set me on a journey to figure out what was this going to be for my story and who am I? In 2022, I met a friend through the gym, and she asked me if I wanted to go church hopping, and we went to Celebration first, and I remember going with her with 0 expectations. Going to Catholic church, it's very traditional. Sit, stand, kneel. There's not a lot of singing, very much hymns. I always loved music, so when I left Celebration, the worship just captivated me fully. I remember leaving, and she was like, okay, where should we go next week? And I said, I don't think I need to go anywhere else. And I kept showing up every week. About a year passed by, and it was during this Signs series where Pastor Keith gave a message called No Excuses. During that message, it was about when Jesus tells the man with the mat to, pick up your mat. And during that, he kept saying, get up. And this message just, impacted me so much during this time. I was dealing with depression, with anxiety. I felt super lost, I didn't have any purpose other than, I'm here for work. What am I going to do with my life? And he just kept saying, get up, get up. Get up. And I stood up, and it was the first time I felt like the Holy Spirit activated in my soul. I never felt that before. The point that I felt like he really found me was later, probably 2 years after that point, while I was serving on the worship team, struggling again with, figuring out who I was, hanging out in the wrong crowds, doing the wrong things, coping with the wrong things. I feel like that gentle nudge and not getting scolded for doing things that were out of character. I very much view God as my loving father. At my lowest point, I felt like he picked me up in the most gentle parent way. Now I walk with him not only as the creator of everything, but as my parent. When Jesus found me, I was empty and seeking love and validation in places that I couldn't find it by myself. And when he found me, I felt a gentle love and acceptance that I had never felt before.